Hello everyone, welcome back to Coaster Extra. Now today I'm going to be operating the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland Park on Ride Sims 2. Now this is a simulator in the beta stage of development, which means it has not been fully released yet. However, we're going to still get straight into it and operate this ride. Now this simulator starts with an intro sort of animation thing, which I think is super cool, and I haven't seen any other simulations do this, so I'm going to play it for you, and here you go. So you can see the gates open, you go through. My name rises out of the mansion, obviously that's my username on Ride Sim, so it knows. And then lightning strikes and you zoom into the mansion. Now all the keyboard commands pop up, but I don't need these because I already know what I am pressing and when. I'm going to just close this. However, what I am going to do is go into options and turn on the lights for the ride because this makes it just look super cool. I'm also going to go to the mechanic panel and turn on the auto close foyer door and auto close stretching room door. Now this will just basically automatically close these doors, which will come into handy later. Now what we are going to do is turn on the power to the ride by just clicking the activate power button. Then we're going to hold down R to reset the e-stop, and you get this very little funky animation here, just while it resets. And there we go, the e-stop has reset. Now we can change the system mode over to maintenance mode. And there we go. The ride is now able to be turned on and starting, we can start it up. So, we're going to start moving the Omnimover system, which I will talk to you a little bit about slightly later on. It's just basically the car system for the ride, what people sit in and ride it in. So we're going to turn this on by just pressing the plus key, and you will see they start moving around slowly. If we press the plus again, they move around at a medium speed. And if we press it for a final time, they now move around fast. However, we don't really want them fast because that can cause some problems, which again, I will explain later. So we're going to press the minus key just to put it back to medium, which is a nice speed. Okay, now that this is all set up, we can turn the system mode over to normal mode, and we can also open up the queue line. So guests will now start coming into the queue line, and I will cut to when we have some more guests in the queue. So I'm going to do that. See you in a minute. Okay, so we've got a lot of guests in the queue and it is still filling. So you can see down at this queue button, it says we have 62 guests in the queue and that number is steadily increasing. So we are going to get these people onto the ride. So we are going to fill up the foyer by just clicking this button here, and this will just set these guests into a big square room where they can then be loaded into one of two stretching rooms. This is basically, the stretching rooms are basically where you get your pre-show. So it's sort of the start of the ride, pre-show, giving you sort of a spooky start to the ride. Yeah, this ride is all sort of themed around ghosts and sort of ghouls and scary things like that. You can probably have worked that out from the Haunted Mansion, but anyway, I can still tell you. So we're going to load into one of the stretching rooms now by just clicking the load button underneath it. There we go. And they will load now into stretching room A. I'm just going to zoom in on this so that you can see. There we go. You can see all these guests loading into stretching room A. Now the doors will automatically close since I enabled that setting. And we can now start the show by just clicking that button there. Now we can fill up the foyer again, so that more guests can, stand in that big cube-like room and then be loaded into another stretching room. You can see the pre-show taking place in stretching room A just here. There we go. Okay, so once this pre-show is finished, which it is, we can unload. And there you go, the doors will open. Now we need to let these guests load onto the ride. So to do this, we're going to click the load button next to this stop text here. So we're going to click the load, and now loading is active for the ride. Guests can move onto this system here. Okay, now we're going to load stretching room B, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the system of trains here. So the way this system works is it's called an Omnimover, and it's called Omni because it is one big chain. Okay, the game's going to interrupt me. Right, we have a mechanic problem. Let's click here. Lift A system. Okay, right, we need to call out a mechanic to that. So we need to set system mode into maintenance, and then to call out an engineer to lift a system. There we go. Okay then. Right, I'm going to continue talking about the Omnimover system then. So the Omnimover system, it is one chain of cars. If I zoom out, you can see that they're all moving around at the same speed. It is one long chain. And that's all it is. It's just one big chain of cars. They're not individual. They don't move around at different speeds. They are one big chain of cars. Now we're back operating normal. Nice. Okay, we can turn on the load again if we go to maintenance mode normal. There we go. Guests are now loading onto the ride again. Okay, so the Omnimover system is basically one long chain of what Disneyland called doom buggies. So doom buggies are basically the individual carriages of each ride. They're called doom buggies. To be honest, I'm not too sure why, but I suppose it's just an interesting name for them, I guess. Disneyland like to be quite creative, they're sort of Imagineers and things, They like to be quite creative, so doom buggies makes complete sense for them. Okay, so I'm just going to continue doing the stretching room work and foyer loading without speaking through it. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about the ride. So I've obviously talked to you about the Omnimover system. Now I'm going to explain why it has different speeds. So the different colours of guests move at different speeds. I'm not sure quite what colour means what speed, but you can see that there's green guests, yellow guests, blue guests and red guests. So they each move at different speeds. And if you make the Omnimover move too fast for a guest's needs, then you will get a fault, an alert, if you like, in this panel here. That button will start flashing. And if you don't decrease the speed in time, then you will have a slight problem because you're going to lose 1,000 points off of your score. So the score is just a system in this game to kind of track how well players are doing and how they're playing. So you can see here that the yellow and blue guests are moving very slowly. So if we had the Omnimover system on fast, they wouldn't be able to get in. So the guests move at different speeds. I'm not even sure if the colour coding means much. I think it's just showing you the different guest types. I'm not too sure of that. However, the guests do move at different rates. You can see those ones move quite quick. These ones are moving a little bit slower. It all depends. I find that medium's quite a good speed to run it at because pretty much every guest can get onto medium. And that's why I find it a good speed to run it at. On fast, there will be quite a few guests that won't be able to get onto the ride, which means it's not the best because if you don't react quick enough, that's a lot of score that you're losing. So obviously you want to be able to react and you want to be able to kind of have most guests able to load onto the ride without needing to react. So I find that medium is a good speed to run the ride at. So you can see number 2 there. If I just zoom out, you can see that our guests that we first loaded onto the ride are coming around. So it is quite a slow ride and it's a long ride as well. You get value for what you queue for. And that's why I think sort of Disney's rides are quite good value for your queue time. They're usually quite long and quite story-based and well-themed. So you get quite a lot of value for your queue time. You can see, obviously, the queue just in this is built up a lot. And think about the queue in real life. They get huge. They get so long at Disneyland. All of the Disneyland parks, but especially, well, in fact, not even especially. Every Disneyland park just gets completely mobbed. But still, they do seem like fun parks, especially if you have young children. I have been to Disneyland Paris once. This isn't the park that this ride is located at. This park is located in California, Disneyland Park it's called. I've been to Disneyland Paris when I was quite young, so I didn't go on any of the major thrill rides like Space Mountain and Rock and Roller Coaster, those sort of things. But I went on a few of the rides, and I did enjoy it. However, it was so busy. We went near Christmas, and it was extremely busy. So take my word of advice, do not go to Disneyland, any one of them, near Christmas, unless you're prepared to pay a lot of money for their fast pass system, or you are staying overnight for a few nights. So, yeah, take my word on that. Honestly, it's not worth your time if you're going for a day near Christmas or any sort of holiday season, you know? So, yeah, take my word for that. That's very true, and honestly, you will regret it if you go for one day near Christmas, because you're really not going to get on that many rides. The queues when we were there were just huge, you know, for everything. So, yeah, make sure you don't go near Christmas, or you just go when it's, you know, if you are going near Christmas, sorry, then stay overnight or get their fast pass system. So, yeah, take my word for that. Honestly, it will save you. It is very busy towards the Christmas season, especially with all their fireworks and everything. So yeah, make sure you don't go unless you're prepared to pay for fast pass or you're staying overnight. But yeah, Disneyland do have their fair share of very well themed rides. I mean, just look at this one. This one is a very well themed ride. There's lots of other themed rides at Disneyland. They do very well in theming their attractions. It is honestly blows me away just how much theming they can put onto their rides. And these rides aren't just like one-offs. The whole parks are like this. You know, they all have rides that are extremely well themed. And yeah, I think that's just a really nice little feature of the parks. You know, they don't have the best rides in the world, certainly not. But they do have an amazing range of themed experiences and themed rides. And yeah, that is one of the aspects of Disneyland that you can't deny. They theme their rides incredibly well. Now if I just zoom out on this, you can see all the sections of this ride. So here's obviously the load platform. And if you continue round, you will get turned to face the endless corridor. Yes, these ride systems, Okay, the ride stopped again. Of course, it's going to interrupt me. So we've got a little problem then. Doom buggy system, so the Omnimover, right? Set our system mode to maintenance. Then we need to call an engineer to fix it. They always have to interrupt me just when I'm talking about it. Anyway, I'm going to follow the ride around just while they're fixing it. So yeah, the ride, the Omnimovers, the Doom buggies turn to face sections of the ride so that you're not just looking straight on the whole time. So the individual Doom buggies do turn, however they are still all linked to the chain system. So yeah, they come around, they look at this endless corridor, which is just like an illusion. Then you come around and are sort of facing this into the hallways section. I'm not too sure what this is about. Then you go into this seance, which, again, I'm not too sure, but it looks very sort of magical and mystical and sort of confusing. Then you turn to face the ballroom, which is full of, I guess, dancing ghosts, I suppose. Yeah, I'm going to have to assume that that's what it's full of. Yeah, dancing ghosts and other sort of things like that. But yeah, that's that part. And then you go around and you're in the attic, which I assume is just going to be filled with like lots of random items and maybe some ghosts in there. And you go around into the graveyard section, which looks like the longest section of the ride. This kind of is self-explanatory. It's a graveyard. Then you have hitchhiking ghosts. I am not sure. However, all I can say is that I think ghosts want to go onto your Doom buggies, I guess. I don't really know. But yeah, that's the whole ride. And it's so long. Look at the speed it's moving around at, even on medium. You really do get to enjoy all of the theming, and you really do, get to sort of see all of the effort that Disneyland have put in to this ride. Because they clearly have. and this ride opened in 1969. So it has been open for a long time, a very long time, and it's manufactured by Arrow Development. So I think the story of those is that they kind of turned into aerodynamics, but they started as Arrow Development, and then it turned into sort of Arrow Huss, and then became aerodynamics. So yeah, Arrow Development manufactured this ride, and that's basically all I have to say about this ride. I've never ridden it, but I do want to, because it does look an incredibly themed and fun and worth, your queue time ride. So I think that this ride looks very good, and I do kind of want to ride it, It's not any of the thrilling coasters that I'd love to ride, but it does look interesting and good fun. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the Haunted Mansion. Now, this simulator as a whole is very fun. It's quite slow paced. However, you do have to stay alert for slow guests and also for those mechanical errors that we found. Also, you have to obviously load in the stretching rooms and unload them. There is quite a lot to be looking at, but it is quite slow paced. However, it's still a very fun simulator, and I do love the intro and wish that is implemented on lots of other simulators. That's going to be it for this video though, guys. I really do hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Also, join my Discord server if you want to. It's the first link in the description. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and goodbye.